What is media bias? How does it affect us? And why does it matter? These are questions we must ask ourselves with the constant stream of media we consume daily, whether it be through easy access to social media, notifications from your favorite website, or other media resources. As we continue to gain more and more access to the world around us, opinions, stories, and experiences become something easily known by the entire world. Our ability to post, repost, screenshot, and tag makes news spread like wildfire. Bias is a term many use to describe prejudice against anything really. One thing we all need to keep in mind is we are all biased. Because of that one time you got food poisoning from your favorite restaurants and haven't gone back, or the small office culture you just can't replace. Now, why is bias such an important topic to understand, especially when it comes to modern media? Well, if the goal is to become more educated and keep up with current events, then we should be consuming facts, a lot of facts, from multiple viewpoints. By reviewing information of what happened from a variety of angles, we will be able to form our own judgments and opinions of situations. Media bias occurs when the information presented to an individual by media outlets is skewed. This can be done by missing key points, word usage, or even a lack of description on photos. Media bias occurs for one of two reasons. The first is ideology, or a desire to encourage a reader to believe a certain opinion or perspective. This creates various divisions in media we constantly see. Stories with extremely left or right viewpoints cause readers to become more eager to read the article or cringe, potentially directing them towards another article or news source. The second reason for media bias is spin, or the need to create a memorable story for the outlet's readers and cater to their political leanings. This can often result in strong diction used to invoke emotion out of the reader, including stories about the latest protest, high-speed chases, or political scandals. Such media bias draws readers in. It creates competition within an environment and forces other sources to have the most eye-catching titles and stories, but not always the most accurate information. The primary reasons behind these media skews can be due to profit motives, cultivating a particular following, or support of a political party or platform. By appealing to readers who will read or watch, media companies are able to properly estimate who may continue to return. Bias in the media is inevitable. It is something to be expected with as many diverse personalities, values, mindsets, and thought processes that exist within the 8 billion people who live on this planet. This is why it's so important to be aware of biases you might have. With all of this in mind, it is extremely important to know how to identify bias. Let's start with the 3 overarching types of media bias: placement or selection bias, reporting bias, and situational bias. Placement or selection bias is often considered the most important for a reader to notice, as it can be the most deceptive and hardest to spot. This bias allows stories to be buried within sections that are less read, or to include or omit specific facts or story points to sway the readers a certain way. Reporting bias occurs when an article is written in a particular tone or has been spun so that it is perceived or received in one way and one way only. This causes misconceptions and often provides just one side of the story. Finally, situational bias is displayed when authors fail to show diverse viewpoints. For example, differing social and cultural issues, stereotypes, and word meanings can often be overshadowed by the narrative of the story and the author's agenda. In doing this, the piece can become flat, projecting only one voice and only one perspective, hurting the reader to follow a certain path. So what are some easy ways to notice bias within a source? Read from multiple news sources. Ensure you can get as many of the facts that are missing from your more frequently visited sources. The wide range of perspectives, opinions, and ideas will allow you to make your own judgments and allow for a broader understanding. Biasly has a side-by-side view that allows for such comparisons of media biases on the same topic. Visit biasly.com to learn more. Language and word choice. Learn phrases commonly used by sources to describe what they are talking about. This will allow you to begin to notice how certain media sources sway towards one opinion or side. Omission. Notice what stories media sources choose to write about or share versus what they choose not to write about. This will allow you to have a greater understanding of where you are getting your news from and the facts included within these articles. Observe how different statistics and sources are portrayed. Often bias can be found in how facts are presented. Although acknowledging our own biases can be difficult to accept, coming to terms with bias will allow us to grow and understand the world better. This is why it is crucial to learn to detect phrases, techniques, and details that project a story in a certain light, or are missing necessary bits of information.